So, Buona people. I just finished working out, so please forgive if I'm a little sweaty up here. But like I said, this week I was going to go over my training program a bit more. And at one point, there'll be a week with two videos because I had missed, I think, if not last week, the week before that one. So I'm just going over my training regimen and philosophies currently. Before I had gotten back from school, I was doing the BG Flex gravity training. So that was a 14-week program, mostly calisthenics based. Weighted calisthenics was the goal, which I like because I do like going heavy, but I like calisthenics more. And then this training regimen is taking some inspiration from that and from the Super Functional 1.0 from the Pioneer. The reason that I would run the BG Flex program again because I really liked it and I was getting really strong. But with the transition home, I had just finished the program before finals had started, and then I got home and I had to look for a job and everything. And now that I'm at a job, it's so far away that I just don't have enough time or energy to do the BG Flex. Especially because I don't have a gym membership, so I have to either train outside or in the house. I can't put a pull up bar in my house, and it's been too cold to train outside, so I've had to switch things up. That and because I do martial arts training as well, I really have to gauge how much energy I can put in, and I have to get up too early in the morning to wake up early enough to, split the training regimens up. I have to I put them all together because otherwise I just won't do them. And the current program is I try to train 6 days a week ish. If I'm really feeling really tired and I feel like I'm gonna hurt myself, then I will just take the time off to rest because I don't want to get an injury. I've popped my what's it called? I've popped my tendon before my shoulder. It's not fun. Don't recommend it. I've had elbow tendonitis before when I did tennis when I was in high school. Since I'm doing a lot of martial arts training, there's a lot of deep stances, so I can feel it in my ankles while standing for work. The best thing to do is the more important thing is I want to be able to train for a long time because the longer I can train, the better I'll get. So if I take some days where I either take them off or I'm slow, it's better than me having 2 months where I can't do anything at all. So my current training program is that with the when I'm training on a day, I will do weapons training first. Then second, I will do martial arts training, and then third, I will do strength training or some type of muscle building training. So I'm gonna go over the muscle building training first because that's the most common and makes the most sense. So I do 2 days of proper strength normal exercises, then 1 days of abs and miscellaneous stuff, which will be changing at one point just as different joints feel different things. I need to change what's going on. So we go with the abs first because it's the simplest and it makes the most sense. So in terms of training equipment, I have gymnastics rings, which I have a tray I can hang in my backyard for as long as I can because the only tree that I can hang it on, I'm using an old, one of the metal, definitely can't. Surprised it can hold my body weight brooms that you get from Lowe's, and I put the rings on that. But it's been snowy out here and cold, so I've not been able to train on it. So because of that, I've not been doing the BG Flex, training. Not only that, but with work, I'm gonna need some time to get used to transitioning, and I still don't have a permanent schedule yet. So I'm not getting enough sleep for me to warrant doing anything to that extent because without enough sleep, I will hurt myself, and I don't want to hurt myself. I don't know how to stress safety enough. So the ab routine that I'm currently doing is that it's 3 sets for each exercise. And so the first exercise that I do is normal crunches with a 45-pound dumbbell above my head. And then after that, I will do Russian twists because I don't have a pull up bar and I can't put a pull up bar in my house because this is my mom's house and I don't want to mess up her doorways. Um, I can't do any overhang, I can't hang and do any of the ab exercises. So this is what I'm stuck with. I'll use that same, not kettlebell. It's uh, an old weight for they used back in stage crews to counterweight lights and stuff. I'll go grab it 1 second. I'm back. And I decided to just bring all my goodies because, you know, I'm a nerd. Why not? And it'll help describe things easier. So, with the crunches, this is a dumbbell I use, and I just hold it above my head, and I'll do crunches with that. When I'm doing the weighted twists, what I'll do, the Russian twists, I use this. This is an old stage counterweight that they use to like hold up the lights and stuff. So I'll do the Russian twist with this, and I'll hold this top bit like from the bottom, and I'll do the side bends with that. So I'll just stand to the side and like lean over one way, pull back up for about 20. The big thing is because I'm training so often, I have to reduce the intensity a lot as to not over fatigue myself, which is not something I'm good at, but I'm learning. Um, so after the side bends, I'll do a hollow body hold, aiming for a minute, 3 times, and then I'll do standing calf raises because I noticed because of my martial arts training and I'm moving around so much in low stances, I can really feel it on my ankles. So and like in my tendons near my ankles, so I have to go about training those a lot better. And I also need to add something to help with my wrists, just because of the positions that I put my wrists in for calisthenics. So I'm gonna have to add some more exercise to this to really um, bulletproof my body a bit more, so I can train for longer. And at the end of this, I'll I realize I'm putting a lot of thoughts in this, so I'm going to try to reduce what I say for the other ones, and then I'll go further in philosophy later. Then I have 2 other strength training programs. I have like a basic day, and then the complementary exercises. They're all really hard anyway. So the first day of training, I only have 3 exercises. I have a 45-pound weight vest. I'm not bringing that over here. Y'all are just gonna have to imagine a 45-pound weight vest. And I will warm up any of the weighted exercise. I'll warm up, do 1 set without the vest, and then I'll do the next set with the vest for the rest of them. Well, each of these is also only 3 sets. It's 3 sets for every exercise for each workout. So the first one is a pseudo planche push up. I can't lift my legs off the ground. Uh, this is not like I'm actually pseudo push upping, with like the parallettes or anything. My feet are on the ground, but I'm in like a pseudo planche position. Now, I will say I'm not as leaned forward as I should be, but the goal is as I get stronger with the weight vest, I'll just make it harder by continuing to lean forward as much as possible, which should, help with, building my chest and also making me stronger in that position, because the rings would get me stronger, slower, but better. However, it's too cold, so I can't do that. And then after that, I don't have like the big dip bars. So instead, we have like high rise chairs in the kitchen, and I have a bow staff. So I'll just lay the bow staff across the chairs. I'll do body weight rows with a weight vest. And then after that, I have been working on I've been working on pistol squats since last August. So I'll do 3 sets of pistol squats to each leg. And then for each one of these, the goal is to get around 15 to 20 on each set. And then I'll increase the difficulty either by changing the lever of my body or adding more weight, because some of these exercises I'm not strong enough to add the weight vest with. Or I'm taking my time to build myself back up because I took like a month off for transition and for not having work and all that. That and just built up fatigue after doing a program for 14 weeks. Um, and then the second program is I will do pike push ups with the weight vest to hit my shoulders. And then luckily, there's like a corner count. There's like a corner counter in my kitchen, so I've been doing dips on those. Way easier than ring dips. Like, it's not even a competition how easier dips are on a solid surface than they are compared to rings. And also, when I'm doing it on my tree, the tree wiggles so much that it's nigh impossible. And then after that, I will put the bow staff back on the chairs, and I will do a chin up version of inverted rows. So I'll just change the hand grip. And then after that, just because it's a simpler day, I'll do goblet squats, 3 sets of 20. So that's my martial arts training. So it's 3 versions, right? And it will go, because I change it every other day. So it'll go strength training, like the first strength training program, the one with the planche push ups. Then it will go abs. Then it will go the one that has the starts off with the pike push-ups and the dips, and then I'll just rotate around with an ab day in between each one. Then for martial arts, since I have weapons training and I have unarmed training, the weapon training I find warms me up a bit better just because I don't have to create as much internal force that I do for unarmed martial arts, which requires me to like really warm up. So I will do the sword training first and then move into the unarmed, and then I'll be really warm and ready to do the strength training. So for I am training inside because it's still cold outside and I don't have that much space, but I do have 2 training implements for me. I do HEMA, historical martial arts. So I have a practice longsword and I have a practice boken for like inside and for traveling and such. So this is the boken. I got it off of Etsy. It's been great for practicing indoors because of how small it is, and it's still a great form factor in terms of like the geometry of a sword for the most part. I had sparred a friend at one point when I was moving back because he ended up going to the city that I just moved out of. And I did okay. I could have done better, but we didn't have any sparring equipment, so I didn't want to go too hard. But so this is what I use most days. Like if I'm doing flow training or what have you, because I'm inside and we move around a lot, I use this because I won't hurt anything in the house. But I will say because it's wood, it's not weighted well, so I've lost some of the strength that I had when I was training in my other apartment that was bigger with my proper Athena Purple Heart Armory practice sword. So this is weighted. This is a proper practice longsword. This is plastic. It's not metal. And then it has a metal pommel on the bottom. This is where most of the weight comes from. So this is weighted to be around 3 pounds, which is the proper weight. So now that I'm home and I have a bit more space again compared to my last apartment, which was smaller than even my other one, I've been using this again to get some of the strength, and I can really feel it in my shoulder on my right side when I'm using it. I can feel the difference between like this has been great for techniques and for practicing forms. Now HEMA doesn't really have forms, so it's not like kata or anything. But just practicing like the version of a basic jab, like the proper like Myers square. And then this, now that I'm using this again, hopefully I can get my strength back, and I'll get back to the amount of work that I was putting in with the boken with this. As much as I can anyway, because once it gets warmer outside, I can actually do all of my techniques outside. So, for the longsword, I have 2 main days of longsword. Then I have one day, which is I've added something else. So, longsword's really simple. There's the 4 main cuts, which is like 2 diagonals, and then 2 diagonals up, and then there's just swinging above your head. That's the simple of it, and then stabbing somebody. So because it's so simple, I only do it 2 days at a time because otherwise I will bore myself out of my head. So I do one day of techniques and one day of flow. So the first day I will do the Myers. So the first day I'll split it up, right? And because the thing is, you can't use this in a vacuum. You only use this with movement. So I will perform it in a circle, turning one way and then turning it in another way. I don't have that much space. So usually you put like a cup down or like a ball down in the middle of a circle, and then you'd use that as your reference point and you'd circle around that. I don't have that, so instead I'll face outwards and turn. So I will do 6 rotations doing the Myers square. I'll choose a point. I'll do a rotation this way, and then a rotation this way. The entire time, like I will do a technique into a turn, technique into a turn, technique into a turn, and I'll just keep on going around like that 6 times with the Myers square. And then I'll do the same thing doing the blocking, which is basically just the Myers square again, but instead you're changing your structure to receiving a blow rather than dealing a blow. And then I will do 2 reverse cutting techniques. which sounds very anime that I say it out loud. But I will basically take one where I do a rising cut with the false edge into a rising cut with the true edge, and then I will transition down into a slash with the true edge, and then I'll just repeat that 30 times, or alternating each time. And then I will do the same thing where I do an attack with the false edge, and instead of changing into a rising slash with the true edge, I will instead make a lowering slash on the true edge on the other side, and then I will transition to doing an outside block behind my head into another attack, and I will just do that 30 times, because that gives you good variation for both. And then I did take a singular kendo class while I was at college. Did not like kendo personally. Maybe I could have stuck through it more, but I just found it too stuffy. So I will also do the overhead kendo strikes, and I'll do one with both transitions. Usually they lead with their right foot, and then they have their left foot, but I will do the right and the left, because when you're doing HEMA, you transition your feet all the time. You're not just doing one version of like a down slashing attack. And then I will also then do the overhead stances, and I will do that in a circle 40 times. Now with kendo, because that's so linear, I will instead just do the slashes, full body movement, foot in the feet in the right position, left foot all the way turned forward. And I'll just do that like 40, 50 times with each leg, one with the right leg forward, one with the left leg forward. And then I will be right back, and I'll grab one of the other implements for the third day of weapons training. Well, this is 3. Okay, like I've mentioned, I'm South African. Well, half South African on my mom's side, but I consider myself South African. I've been learning Zulu. I know a little bit. Gidingo uku kuluma uko nigni. I need to practice more, I need to talk more, I need to learn more. But while I was in South Africa the last time, in one of the districts where they sell a lot of the historical clothing and stuff for rituals and stuff, I picked up 2 Ikwa. Forgive my pronunciation. I was not taught Zulu as a kid, so a lot of the clicks and stuff I'm not the best at. But I had 2 of these, which are great for if I want to practice dagger work or what have you. But the body mechanics of longsword and honor martial arts are pretty similar. The footwork are pretty similar. So the footwork is pretty similar also for Eskrima. So since I know some combat sports, I've found some stuff online that I found so I can practice, Eskrima at least a little bit, or just using short swords to help with my 2-hand coordination as well. So even if, let's say, even if my, Eskrima is terrible, at least I know how to coordinate my hands a little bit better than I, think that I can. You know what I mean? So at least I can say that, I know what I'm doing at least a little bit. I'm not the best, and I still need to practice, but it's on its way. It's only been like a couple weeks of me doing this. I still need to practice a lot more, and when it comes to doing combinations, I'm like transitioning between combinations, I'm not the best. This I find the hardest to do, just transitions back and forth, because I want to do the combo, because this feels nice and it feels normal compared to having both of them on each side. It feels too weighted. Maybe that's just with my stance, and I should, because when I go into more of a taekwondo karate stance, I this feels normal. I don't feel like I'm tipping over. The longsword, where I'm a lot more standing, doing this feels like I'm too exposed. But that's not important. So the third day, I'll do 1 day of techniques. I'll do another day where I'm doing these, and I'll just do the basic side to side, and then side to side with a twist, and then also a side to side. No, this is the other one where I lead with the top hand first, bring this over, bring this up, and then I'll switch them out. And then I'll put this one forward and this one back, and I'll just do that as well. Because that's how I started with longsword. Picked a technique, just stood in the right stance and didn't move, and just practiced the upper body part. Then I added the lower body part. And it takes you a long way. Like if you look at Sellsword Arts and stuff, and you look at any of the solo training drills that he's done, a lot of his stuff is like it's super simple, practicing 1, 2, 3 techniques, like 2, 3, 4 times for like 5 minutes, and that's what I started with. And then I just built up over time to the point where I can do it like 10, 15, 20 minutes, and it's not that big of a deal. Now for the flow training, what I'll do is I'll just do like the 3 minutes of just flowing around, and I'll try to be conscious that I'm making sure I'm doing the right steps, and that when I'm doing the right steps, I'm making sure that I'm following through, that I'm making sure that I'm doing variations. I'm not just practicing the normal Myers square techniques. I'm actually switching between, doing Myers square into overhand, into false edge cuts, into stabbing and such, making sure that I'm doing some variations. And I'm making sure that I'm practicing my blocking as well in that. So before each of the longsword days, I will also run through the stances. I found the video online, so I just go through the stances 4 times. And by stances, I mean like the proper like guards. That's what I mean. I go through the guards, overhand, the one over here, the fool's guard, long point, and I'll run through those before doing the longsword practice. I don't know any of the guards for Eskrima other than like the basic, the basic hold. I'm sure this is also one of them. And it'd be the same thing on the other side, you know. And then after that, because that usually takes like anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much energy I have that day. I need to reduce it down to 10 minutes because I'm fatiguing myself too much each day. After that, I will do martial arts training. So one day I will do 2 things. There's this guy called Wukong Wilson on YouTube. He does boxing stuff with the rattan ring. So I found his one for stances. So because I did Taekwondo only for like a year, like I'm a white belt. I know I'm not that good, right? But I will do the stances with this one, and I'll make sure to do that. So what I'll do is I'll choose 2 of them. You know what I mean? I'll choose 2 stances, and what I'll do is I'll choose the 2 stances, and I will do 2 things. So whatever day that I'm doing techniques and I'm moving, what I will do is I will do one where my shoulder is in line with my foot, and I will just switch feet and move with each one, right? So whenever my foot moves forward, my shoulder moves forward, and I will do that forward and backwards in the line. And then I'll do the same thing where it's the opposite, where my opposite shoulder is forward to the foot that's in front of me. And then I'll do that forward. And then after that, I'll do the same thing, but moving from side to side. So my right foot will be forward, and I'll shift to the right, and then back. Then I'll change it so that way the shoulder is opposite to the foot, and I'll move to the right and then to the left. And that way I'm also getting my movement training in, making sure that like my footwork is good, as well as coordinating with my upper body, making sure that it doesn't feel like I'm gonna fall over when I execute techniques. And so the day that I do the 2 stances between the 2 of them, after that I have all of the list of the karate stances, and I will choose 2 of those, one hard and one easy, and I will try to hold each one of those for 2 minutes 2 times. And then the other martial arts day is the real technique heavy day. So I'll choose 2 upper hand techniques. So whether that be punching, or doing a block, or doing an out hand block, or a down block, or uppercut, up block, or a hook. And I'll do that in the karate stance, right? Because with the ring, I can do it in the boxing stance. and I'll do that with the same footwork that I said earlier. And then I'll choose two kicking techniques, whether that's a front kick, roundhouse, um, side kick, axe kick, back kick, inside crescent kick, and I'll try to make one that's hard and one that's easy. I'll do the easy one first to warm myself up into the harder ones. So I'll choose like front kick and roundhouse, and then I'll do inside crescent and side kick, and then I'll do axe kick and back kick. And just transition between those two together, and I'll do the same thing with the footwork. Though those ones are super exhausting. So I usually warm up the lower body because I need that good internal pressure with the upper techniques, and then do the lower techniques afterwards. And then the next day training. So the first martial arts day is the holding the karate stances and holding the boxing stances while moving. And then the next day is practicing two upper techniques and two lower techniques while moving. And then the third day is a bit simpler, where I will just take the rattan ring and I will execute hooks, uppercuts. I will do like a transition of trying to like practice parrying, which I'm still not the best at. And then I'll do one where I'm like doing an up block and a boxing stance into either what's it called, jab, or I'll transition over into a straight and then block. Which seems to be good because like if I try to like shadow box, like it feels right. You know what I mean? It feels okay. But if you've noticed, I've not talked about taking classes. I've not talked about sparring, and that's because, like I said, I don't have anyone around here that I know of that does either HEMA sparring or regular sparring that's striking based. And I don't have the time. Now, I've taken classes before, so it's not like I'm learning all this stuff on my own, right? I do have some idea of the body mechanics. I spent a year doing the HEMA stuff, and I spent a year doing the Taekwondo stuff. The only thing is that I've continued to practice on my own for when I get to the point that I can go to class, because I don't want to lose anything that I have learned, and what I have learned I can improve. That's entirely optional, and I can learn more stuff, but I have to make sure I take it with a 10 grain of salt, because if I learn it wrong, it could really fuck me up down the long run. Excuse my cursing. So I really want to make sure that what I am doing is correct. So in the meantime, this is the best that I can do. This is my training program. It seems like a lot, and that's because it is. But I really like training, and if you couldn't tell, I really like martial arts. So even in my free time, I'm constantly watching like Cell Swords Arts Academy. I'm watching Free MMA. I'm watching Sensei Seth. I'm watching the Kudo guy. I'm watching Wing Chun stuff, martial arts stuff, boxing stuff, Muay Thai stuff. The only thing that I don't really look into is grappling, which I know I need to, preferably like judo or wrestling. But yeah, that's my current training program. It's a lot. I know it's a lot, but I like it, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm really hoping that at one point, when I have more time, because my schedule's figured out, and maybe I'll get a job closer to home, I can really get back into the BG Flex, BG3 Flex, I'm pretty sure, program, because it was a lot of fun and I saw a lot of progress, and I know that I can make it so much further in terms of adding weight, losing weight, getting stronger, because I was testing out whether or not I could try to practice planche again at the end of that, and I felt like I almost got my feet off the ground for a pseudo planche, which would be cool. But given the circumstances, that's just not possible in terms of making sure that I don't hurt myself because of overuse. And then the only big thing is with fitness, there's the three-legged stool fitness. I'm not patenting that. That was Jax Blade who patented that. Jax Blade patented that. Don't clip this out of context. But he said the three-legged stool fitness is food or diet, sleep, and exercise. Now, my sleep, I tried to do the best that I can, but with my schedule being all over the place, it's a bit hard. But I am conscious that I need to get sleep. And then training, I do train. I've been training long enough for many years now, so I actually have the urge to want to train, and I can feel it doesn't feel right when I don't train in some capacity. And then the thing that I find actually the hardest is eating, because your boy can cook and he likes to eat. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I get free food at work, which helps, but on the weekends I find, since I am by myself and I know how to throw a dish together, I tend to go overboard with it, but I think that also could just be a lack of planning on my part. I find that the more vegetables that I have in the fridge, the easier it is for me to eat healthy. And so sometimes I just need to make sure that when I'm in my fridge that I'm like, oh, I could go another week without buying vegetables and fruit. I should just go out and buy vegetables and fruit, because then I will just be fine. But yeah, this has been the update. It's been a lot of jabbering, a lot of talk, but basic things to take out from this is I'm only doing like 3 to 4 basic exercises. I hit the chest, the back, and the legs, you know. And then the big thing is that for the martial arts, I keep it simple. It's just stances and then running the techniques while moving over and over and over again. I have been doing the martial arts trainings thingy for like years now. Years now. So it's really simple because I follow the same. It's the same structure. It's been the same structure. It's literally just the actual attacks, blocking. You can't see that one because it's to the ground, but blocking, overhands, and then going over your head. And it's just doing that for reps. It's doing it for reps while watching my footwork. And it's not like I'm going 5 miles at a time. I'm walking the length of my living room back and forth. But the important thing is that I'm doing it every 2 days. And every 2 days for months of doing the right technique over and over again. And I make sure that I try to go slow. When I go fast, I go so fast that I lose track of where I'm at. And so I have to slow myself back down again. Because it's just, I don't have to think anymore. I just do it. I just do it. I just do it. And that was me going without properly being in a proper coiled stance to go back and forth. So if you're doing martial arts, and you're a fan of anime and you know the trope of I did the same thing. The parry guy, I parried 1,000 swords over 200 years. It's the truth. It works. Because martial arts is just repetition and then testing it. The only thing I'm missing is testing it, because I do the repetitions. I do the repetitions over and over again. And you feel the difference. So, that's been me. If you have any questions, I guess, put in the comments, or, give me notes or feedback or what have you. And I wish you all the best. Salagate.